I'm WG, and in this video I'll be trying to teach you everything I can about RIN, from how to play her to who to pair her with, which epiphanies to pick, which epiphanies for her teammates, which gear you should run on her, which partner to use, everything pretty much that comes to mind. So starting it off, let's start with the team. So the team I see at the moment as the most successful to be played with the RIN is RIN and then 2 free units. It's the RIN Mika Ray team. So without any crazy shenanigans, let's talk about how you can make these units work together so you know what to look forward to. First off, RIN. RIN is going to be your main carry. Main carry also means that not only is she going to deal most of your damage, she's also get most of your buffs, and she will also eat most of your AP, as well as potential resources that you get during a chaos run, like epiphanies, like specific gear, and the like. So let's start with the epiphanies and talk a bit about the cards you want, though there's something we have to mention. To make RIN that much easier, you need to level her to level 30, so from 20 to 30, because then you unlock the ability to get the basic card proficiency and the ability to enter into the Dark Mist stance with her basic attacks. There is a very easy way for you to do that, and that is in the memory archive. You can just spend your resources, buy out these void coins right here, and then you don't even have to spend stamina for it, and trust me, it is worth it. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk cards. So a drawing slash, I'm gonna kind of like just talk about, yeah, the cards you kind of want to go for, and then like how they synergize together as a team. I'll try to make it make sense, right? But drawing slash itself is a pretty useful card in that it costs you nothing. If you need to enter into the Dark Cloud stance, you can do it with that card, and it also has a extra damage bonus should you already be in this stance. And then let's have a look at the other upgrades. So from left to right, the leftmost one I wouldn't really focus on too much because it's just a base damage increase. It's not the greatest. The one to the right that adds 1 damage count can be a valuable target, because having multiple instances of damage counts is going to be very valuable, because percentage based increases always apply to the base multiplier, which you then have for every single hit that follows. You see this whole thing pretty much be part of RIN's kit integrally, in that we'll try to go for it at all times possible. Then in the middle one, I don't recommend going for the drawing slash, at least not yet, or unless you have multiple awakenings already for her, and that is because there will be situations where you want that drawing slash to either end your turn with or start your turn with, and not having the ability to enter Dark Cloud stance with drawing slash, I would advise against that. Then the middle one can be really useful, because you can just use drawing slash as a opener card to not only deal damage and put you in a Dark Cloud stance, or already just deal damage based on the number of cards in hand. And then this one right here I also wouldn't recommend. So the main cards to go for are either the second one, the fourth one, or potentially the first one. I'm not the biggest fan of 3 and 5. Then let's talk Dark Mist Secret Arc Destruction. See, the fun part right here is this actually is way better than you think. It says draw 1 cards, gain Dark Mist stance. The fun part here is you are always guaranteed to draw a RIN card. Says it nowhere, it's been like that. I've been playing enough around with the character, and that's the way it works, right? Which also makes all of these upgrades way more spicy. Like for example, the leftmost one gives you 2 RIN cards. The secondmost one, honestly, don't. Like, the cost -1 for 1 turn is only for RIN's cards, and then you really don't need it because her cards aren't that expensive. The one in the middle, the Dark Mist Blade Art damage plus 50% for 1 turn. Also, I don't really recommend it as much. You have a different way to get there. There is 2 cards that are really nice. And that is number 1, move the Dark Secret Art Annihilation and Dark Mist Secret Art Black Dance from a graveyard or draw pile to hand. These 2 are your main damage engines. They are your main damage dealers. So having the ability to pay 0 and get the 2 of them either from draw pile or graveyard, so from anywhere in the deck, is really good. And what you can also do is you can play them first, send them, and then get them back. So here we have one of my favorites. It sounds kind of ass, but it is actually really damn strong if you realize that drawing cards means drawing RIN cards. Because at the start of the turn, if in Dark Mist stance, draw one card, it's like, it could be anyone. But no, if you enter or start your turn in Dark Mist stance, you are guaranteed to draw an additional RIN card every single turn. So I'm a big fan of this first one, the fifth one, the fourth one, and the first one. Whereas the base version is also really, really nice as well. It's just a pretty solid card. It's a deck cycler. You get it in your hand and you're always going to be able to swap it out for something else, no questions asked. Then we have one of her first, maybe even her main damage option, and that is the Dark Mist Secret Art Annihilation. There is some pretty interesting ones in here. Like, you can ignore this one, you don't want to reduce the cost, it's again mainly going to be RIN cards, you don't need the additional damage here, so there's two options in my opinion that you can go for, let's say three, but one is way above the others. And the best option right here is going to be the 50 times 2 and in Dark Blade Art plus 2 hits card. Because what this does, it's turning Dark Mist Secret Art into a 4-hit card. 4-hit cards will also be able to easily strip enemies of stacking attack buffs, like for example Hunger, which gets reduced every time you hit. And again, it benefits from this base multiplier increase, which you see coming from our supports. Then otherwise, the 1 damage count is simple, and this one already just has 1 damage count and gets 100% critical damage. This is more like an endgame one. If you don't have crit rate, getting critical damage is useless. So preferably you want either this one or this one, but I guess this one is fine as well, right? Those are kind of like your options there. The Dark Mist Inner Art. I gotta be honest with you here, if you have to not get a card for a whole turn, I would say Dark Mist Inner Art is your go, right? If you don't get an Epiphany for this card, it's not going to do much. Because most of the turns you have this in hand, you're better off just playing an additional RIN card instead of boosting the damage of all RIN cards or of all attack cards by 30%. And this for one turn retain Dark Cloud stance isn't nearly as useful as it sounds. So let's talk Epiphanies. There is 2 very special ones. Number 1 is the Dark Mist Inner Art if in Dark Mist stance state, plus 50% to RIN's attack card damage. This one is fantastic. What that means is, so long as you're in Dark Mist state, you add 50% to any multipliers of RIN. So think back to the Annihilation card, which starts at a base multiplier of 50, which would then be a 200% damage total, right? 50 times 4. Now add 50% on top of that, all of a sudden it's 100 times 4, which is already 400%. You're pretty much able to double the damage output of Dark Mist Secret Art Annihilation with that card. And then there's also this card right here. For one turn you have the ability to retain Dark Mist stance, and you can also create a Dark Mist Secret Art Annihilation in your hand. So it's a decent trade. It does more for you than the plus 30% damage does, in my opinion. Because if you can make the AP work, you'll be able to play this for 1, and then if you need an extra bit of damage, you can then play the Secret Art Annihilation after. So those are like my favorites. This 0 cost reduction can be decent, right? The 0 cost reduction can be decent because you can then just play it for free. So it's, in my opinion, between 5 and then 2 or 3. For one turn, it's good, right? But it just, most of the time you're just using cards. And then this one, at the start of the turn, obtain Dark Mist stance. Preferably that's something you do yourself with the way you play. You do not need a card to put you into the stance. And then lastly we have a card that just deals percentage damage, and then it does more hits depending on how many skill cards you have, so it can hit up to 6 times. So that was RIN and what kind of cards to go for. So let's check out how do you make it work in a team, right? How do you make them all work together? So let's talk about Mika. So, Mika, for the very first card, the 1 AP thing is already pretty much fine. You can make use of the source of water that gives you 2 AP, because most of the time, because you're not running a shielder in this team, you are going to be less than 100% health, and on recover means if you heal yourself while not being full health, you get the full AP amount. The same is true for a heal. Heal only removes stress if you're not full HP. So that is kind of what you're going for there. The 2 AP is fine. The allied stress can work. This one is a little too much, because you don't really want that much AP in one turn. You would rather have the ability to get +1 AP for multiple turns. And then on the leftmost one, the wave mechanic is also fine. You can see this as gain 1 AP and a third of 1 AP for 0 cost, no conditions asked. So those are kind of like your source of water sources. Blessing of the Waves is a bit of a different one. You're not really gonna do anything with it as much. This one can be quite nice in healing you a whole lot, in that you end your turn with the Blessing of the Waves, and depending on how much AP you spend, it's going to heal more. One of my personal favorites has to be this one, because there will be a lot of situations where you are max HP, and if you're max HP and you only have healing cards on the hand, there's nothing you can do against the hit. It's going to hit you no matter what, because you can't heal the hit before it hits you, right? So you have two choices. Either you make the enemy attack before your turn ends, or you find something like this, which allows you to give you a shield, depending on how much you exceed the maximum HP. This one's also quite fine. One additional wave is just AP, and the other ones are kinda middling and not as important. Then Tactical Analysis is a little bit in the same boat, in that at base you get the wave, and then for one turn you get additional healing. What you're looking for is either this one, when own card is used, 1 wave for 1 turn, meaning if you use a bunch of Mika cards, you get a bunch of wave, which could help with AP, or just any of these 2 wave upgrades are going to be providing the most value. Whichever one of those, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Besides, I guess, Tactical Analysis, because this one is going to be a one-time 2 wave, whereas you can play Tactical Analysis 2 and 3 multiple times. And then that brings you to one of my most hated cards, but just because I don't like it, right? I don't have my Mika in a spot where it deals damage, so this doesn't really heal. But if you're looking for something, the 1 cost gain wave equal to the number of targets hit is fantastic, because if you hit 3 targets, you spend 1 AP to get 1 AP, so this card is free. And then this one, if recovered 1 cost until used, it's not worth the damage, right? She doesn't do that much damage. The leftmost one, honestly, it's whatever. And then this one, right? Like the Whirlpool, whatever you get, it's fine. If you're looking for a priority, it would be the number 2. It's not part of the main shenanigan that we're running. And then we have the Deluge, which gives you 1 wave, and at the start of the turn gain 1 wave. And that is by us having a Mika on 5 copies, but the most important one is this one, right? The first copy is what allows you to have this card on hand at the start of any turn, should you have it in your deck. This one is honestly not as important. This one doesn't really do much. This Retain to the source of water cards can come in clutch, but I've never really used it because this was a recent pickup from the Radar banner. And now let's talk about the most important enabler in this team, and that is Ray. So for Ray, what you're looking for is right here with the Strike of Darkness. You're not really looking for anything, right? Most of the time you're just going to play Strike of Darkness, and you can then use it into, for example, a normal basic attack card from RIN to get back into the stance. So use the Strike of Darkness, leave the stance, use a basic attack card, go back into the stance, right? Increase the basic attack card damage. It's fine. None of these Epiphanies are something you should truly look out for. Like, for example, do not do the second one. The second one reduces your whole team's damage by 20%. Don't do that. The leftmost one has some nice multipliers. Lead also means that if you do get it reduced, you preferably want it to be played like the first turn. I guess if you had to pick a favorite, it would be the Strike of Darkness add unique to just instantly increase the basic attack damage by 80% and then not having to worry about it anymore. And activating all basic cards in hand is kind of useless, because you're always going to find the AP in this team to use these basic attack cards anyway. Now, one of my favorites right here is this card. So, from the get-go, it works with RIN due to RIN having just 2 cards that don't fit. The Draw Slash at 0 cost and the basic attack at 2 cost. So every other card is going to get 40%. Because we are looking for multi-hitters, these ones are also this multiplier is always going to be more important. And then there is, 2 potential upgrades. Either the Void card upgrade, which makes it work for every single one of Rin's cards due to Rin being a Void unit, or the 40% upgrade for 1 or below, which makes it work for the slash, but I wouldn't really focus on that. Way more important would be the 60% damage of cards with 1 cost. So your main focuses should either be the Void one to make it work for all cards, or the 60% one to just increase the damage. I would try to refrain from turning it into a skill, because it just gets slightly annoying, but honestly it's not the worst of things, because you have the interactions between skill cards. But see, the interesting part is the Dark Mist, right? Like the purple card for Rin deals damage based on how many skill cards you have in hand. To boost the damage of it, you would have to play this card first, losing a skill card on hand, losing a hit of the attack, kind of to a degree negating the effect of Resonating Darkness to an extent. But yeah, Resonating Darkness is nice and easy. Snack Time is fantastic. Snack Time is kind of there to allow you to cycle through especially useless heals from Rin, useless heals from Ray, shields from Rin, useless heals from Mika. So what you can do is you can just pick one card, get rid of it for the whole duration of the fight, and also draw a card after. Epiphanies here are a couple that are really useful. Like for example, you could get rid of 2 cards. So for example, you could get rid of 2 heals or 2 basic attacks for Rin Ray. This one, select 2 cards to exhaust in hand and select 1 Void card to draw, could help you fish for very, very specific Rin cards should you desire that. Any of these options are quite great. Like for example, the leftmost one allows you to do this snack time thing twice during the battle. So these are like really fantastic for like making your rotation work. Now, one of the biggest damage boost that you can apply to a Rin has to be the Dark Condensation, because what this does, it adds a 100% multiplier to any of Rin's cards. So all of a sudden, let's think back to the 4-hitter, right? You go from 50% times 4, so 200%, to 150% times 4. So now you're looking at a 600% damage output. And then cards here that are kind of nice is for 1 turn 50% damage to Void cards can work really well if you're using a bunch of Rin cards. Then this one, choose 1 attack card from hand plus 50% damage, means you can permanently for the whole duration of the fight upgrade the damage of 1 specific card by 50%, which can also be worth it. Keep in mind it's not a skill card, so you won't be able to trigger the effect of Rin's purple card. This one is just straight up nice. It's just a flat upgrade to 150%. And this one is a bit weird, right? It gives you damage, shield gain, and healing. So it gives you a bit more flexibility. You could also put it on someone like a Mika skill if you needed to heal more. But we're mainly looking for damage, right? We're looking for raw damage output. And then the finisher card, and something that is absolutely important to Rin, is this right here. You deal damage and you get 4 stacks of morale. Every stack of morale increases your damage of your attack cards by a fantastic 20%. So if you use this card and then one of her multi-hitters after, you're already adding 80% to the base multiplier, the same shenanigans as before, right? So that is kind of what you're doing here. This is kind of what you're looking for. So now that we've yapped this long about a team like this, I think the best is to just show you some, I mean, we could talk about partners real quick, right? So partners, there's 2 partners you want, right? Like you either start with the 3-star if you don't have a 3-star, you take Ritoshka if you don't have Lillian. So Lillian is going to be the perfect 4-star partner for her. I just wasn't yet lucky enough to pull her, because the way she works is pretty much whenever you use a card with the cost of 1 or less, you deal plus 10% damage. And when you use a skill card, you get attack card damage for 1 turn, stacks up to 3 times. And then here is you get 100% damage to all enemies, draw 1 attack card with the cost of 1 or less, so you can specifically even aim for more Rin cards. But honestly, Ritoshka isn't that bad. You get extra damage for the slash, you get extra damage for the first attack card used, and you can also give yourself morale 3, so a 60% multiplier for 1 turn. But yeah, then if you have the premium options, get yourself Scarlet. If you want to, you can read the effect, just trust me, Scarlet and Rin go like this. So that is right here. And then our support setup is actually that much simpler in that it's just the other 2 remaining 4-star partners for supports. It's just the 2 4-star partners. So let me go to my combatants just to show it to you real quick. So we have Arwen, we have Alyssa on Mika, and we have Arwen on Ray, because the 2 of them can work together and you can't run double Arwen, so you might as well run the 2 of them. So that's with partners. Now let's quickly get through gear, just so you have a bit of an idea. So the sets you would be going for at minimum is this one right here that gives you percentage attack, because she is your main carry. She's gonna deal your most amount of damage. If you want to upgrade something already, upgrade something with attack percent as the main stat. You can find that both on the, I think we call it the goblet. I know it's annoying because it's like Genshin, but like, right, you would upgrade this one, and then for example you could find it here as well, and then here I guess you could upgrade base attacks. But honestly, it's not that important. The most important part is that you look for this 12% attack set, and this crit damage set is just something that's going to get more and more valuable over time. Currently we don't really have enough crit rate to make use of it, but there's also no other set that really fits RIN any better. So what we're going to do here is, obviously because of this being so random, we don't really know what happens, but I'll just show you a couple runs, a couple rotations against these battle missions right here. So let me show you my save data. What do we have save data wise? First off, if you can get any weapon that increases attack, that's already a good step, and then you can later vary about increasing the weapon. But here's what I did. So as I said, we for example have the 4-hitter on Dark Mist Secret Art. We have the Dark Mist Secret Art Black Dance, which does what it does. We have the 50% RINs attack card damage. We have the, at the start of the turn, draw 1 card. And we also sneaked in a Shy Gardener. So there is going to be a couple normal cards that you come along that just fit RIN like a glove. Like for example this monster card, which allows you to deal 50 times 4 damage and apply 3 stacks of mark. Let me actually see if I can show you a couple other normal cards that I came across that work really well. So one that you should always pick up if you can find it is going to be Pulverize. Pulverize means a guaranteed weakness hit, so it's always going to be effective. It is a double hitter and it draws you a card. Pulverize is fantastic, and Gear Bag, if you can get Gear Bag as well, that works so well on any of these supports. What it does is play the card of an ally, and this card activates at no cost, drawing you 2. It's pretty fantastic. So there we have Shy Gardener, and then it depends, right? There's a lot of funny cards in here, but anything that has multiple hits is already pretty good. And then the save data I used before this, which is I guess you could say a bit weaker, was indeed using Pulverize. Had the multi-hitters, didn't have any epiphanies on the Dark Mist Secret Art, didn't have any epiphanies on Dark Mist Inner Art, but we were still cooking. So that is RIN. Let's talk about Ray real quick. Ray is nothing special. Non-epiphany, snack time, standard Predator's Blade, standard Dark Condensation, and the 40%, even the standard card here, you can see it barely has any epiphanies whatsoever. The only thing it has is like some extra cards for like some extra stats. And Mika also isn't anything special. We have Deluge, so we have it instantly on hand. We have the shield equal to the HP exceeding the maximum. We have a Godly Epiphany on Tactical Analysis, which allows us to play it for 0, draw 1, and get 1 wave depending on how many cards we play. So we can get a draw for 0, always replace this card, and we also get our way towards AP. And then we have a standard AP source with 1 AP, 1 wave. And yeah, that's kind of the shenanigan we'll go for. So let's have a little bit look at like rotations, how you start a turn, and yeah. So overall, it's always best to just focus on eliminating one target that's as threatening as possible first. And what always helps, and what I like to do, is always just click on people, right? Click on people, see what they do. Like for example, when a card is used, reduce cheer by 1. When cheer is removed, all monsters gain 1 morale. Meaning these guys get 1 stack of morale every single time we use a card, which obviously isn't that fantastic. But yeah, what we're going to do here, for example, is just activate our draw card, get our passive bonus out, and then just apply our multiplier to our extra hits, right? So for example right here, and then we pick ourselves a target, like for example this guy, and you see she is really, yeah, pretty much cooking. Now the interesting scenario is, depending on what kind of cards you pull, but what I always like to do is, or what you should always do, right, is open up with the basic attack. If you open up with the basic attack, you're going to make it into Dark Mist stance. From Dark Mist stance, you can then use, for example, Drawing Slash, which then, for example, crits, right? I think our crit chance is currently at like 6% or something. Nothing to write home about. Honestly, here it has not a lot to do, so we're just going to play out our standard cards. We're going to try and see if we can get rid of Whirlwind permanently for this whole fight. See if we can get anything nice. And then due to us playing these upgrade cards, even though we could play the Source of Water and then play the basic attack, it's not worth it in the long run to sacrifice this for just the basic attack. So then right here we want to first check, is there a way for us to enter into the Dark stance again, right? Because currently we are getting that much stronger if we have the Dark stance active, and unfortunately there's no way. So what we do is we do our cards and we don't use the Predator's Blade. There will be situations coming later down the line where we can do that, but this one is just not the case, right? It's just not the case, and then we can just skip our turn. And then here again, we have, for example, this right here. This one is going to take us out of Dark Mist stance. This card is going to take us back into Dark Mist stance, and then we can take advantage of the Dark Mist stance with our multi-hitter. So that is kind of the plan. You really just want to manage that stance. Like either you enter out of it and then enter back in, or you try to end your turns on it. It depends on if you have the upgrade card, right? If you have the pull a RIN card, if you're in Dark Mist stance at the beginning of a turn, staying in that Dark Mist stance is that much more important. So let's just get these cards out of the way. And then Dark Condensation isn't worth it to be used. Might as well just deal some damage, right? The reason why Dark Condensation wouldn't be worth it to use is because it only boosts for one turn. So if we don't play a card the turn we boost it, it doesn't do anything. So yeah, it's this easy. You just get a basic card, enter into the stance, and then you just get your hits out. So it's all about just like using the cards that you have smartly in getting into that Dark Mist stance. And then also, if you have basic cards in here, these do not rely on Dark Mist stance. These cards don't need Dark Mist stance to do their extra effect. But yeah, here we can just start off standard. Let's see if we can pull ourselves an AP card. Nope. So is what it is, but it's more damage in the long run preparing right now. So for example here, again, we are out of Dark Mist stance, but we did get, got the draw effect, so we got the extra card. Now we can use the morale bonus, which is the 80% damage bonus for everything, then re-enter into the stance with this card and then make use of the morale bonus on our multi-hitter. Or we could have even used the 2-cost basic attack card. So it's not really about removing every and any attack card in the whole deck. It's about what do you like, how do you play your rotation in a way that you are always going to have the Dark Mist stance for when you need it. Like for example right here, we can just boost the card, we can attack, and the rest of the turn honestly is kind of irrelevant. You know what? Let's not make a mistake. So if you want to start like, or if you have like a big RIN combo in hand, if you want to start like a RIN turn, then obviously opening up with the ultimate is smart because it adds vulnerability, meaning the next cards played against that target just deal more damage. So everything else is the same, and then there you go, this is a KO. I guess as a last note, as you can see, yes, we did remove the basic attack card for Mika because we truly don't need it on her. And the way you do this is you find a rest area with a shop symbol, and then you can pay an amount of coins at the shop to just remove a card, and then with the save date it also won't be in there. So those are like your priorities to remove. Removing cards from raid doesn't usually help as much, and that's because you still also want a little bit of value from the Striker Darkness. So having her own basic damage cards can still work here quite well. And yes, if you can get this one, it obviously is even more valuable. So I hope you were able to take something away from this. I hope I didn't yap too much nonsense, and I hope you're now a better RIN main. Peace.